You are just not satisfied with maybe your body, your friends, where you live, your career. You don't really like what's going on, but where do you go? What do you do? Right?
I get it. I had a midlife crisis, apparently.
Well, we all go through it. We all go through it. Did you push record?
Thanks so much for tuning into our second act with Paige and Silka.
For your second act of life. Hey, Silka.
Hi, Paige. Well, today we want to revisit a subject we've talked about to various degrees, and that is reinvention. Some call it. Today we're going to call it midlife crisis, and why that is or isn't bad. As we go through this, I know that you have a take on it that we wanted to discuss, so I'm going to shift it over to you.
So, I think I'd start with, what are some of the causes that create midlife crisis besides being in your midlife with age, right? So we have the societal messages about aging, which can be pretty frightening because they're not the best messages. The fear of the aging process. Oh my God, who's going to take care of me? What if this happens to me? What if, what if, always living in the what ifs. The losses. And, we could have a loss at this age, but it really is all the losses that came before midlife. And I'm not talking death. I'm talking so many different forms that loss come in. You're going through a divorce or a change in a relationship, some course. You've got to change with your adult children now. That doesn't feel comfortable or is not healthy or whatever that might be. Career changes. Maybe you're done doing the same thing you've been doing all this time. Financial challenges. That's a huge one. How much more can I work to take care of myself when I get to be X amount of age? And then any kind of traumas that have occurred in your life that you haven't dealt with. Like these are some of the causes that kind of come together when we happen to be in midlife.
Well, and what is the difference really between a crisis, which implies something very negative, to a reinvention?
Well, I think like anything, crisis gets our attention, but we shouldn't have to live by crisis for life to get our attention. It's about, connecting to your knowing, which I always say, and paying attention and being aware of what's going on. That's why we're giving people, these are some of the causes. So as we segue into that, which is perfect, Silka, let me talk about a little bit of the symptoms that you may be experiencing. You're just dissatisfied, and you might not even know why you're dissatisfied, but things just don't feel as good as they used to. Maybe your relationship isn't giving you what you want it to give you anymore. Maybe you're feeling down and depressed. You're focusing a lot more on your appearance and everything has to be perfect. Oh my God, I'm getting older. You are just not satisfied with maybe your body, your friends, where you live, your career, but you don't know what to do with it. You kind of feel stuck. This all feels kind of yucky. You don't really like what's going on, but where do you go? What do you do?
Yeah.
Right?
I get it. I had a midlife crisis, apparently.
Well, we all go through it. We all go through it to the extreme. I mean, to one extreme or another. Everybody does it differently. And emotionally, the stages are, think about it. How many of us deny, I'm not in midlife. I'm not, no, I can still do this. I can still run and do triathlons, this or that. My body can still do what it wants. I don't have wrinkles. Let me just do some of this. I'm good. Things aren't sagging. Denial, denial, denial. And then when we finally realize, holy crap, I'm in midlife, then it's easy to get angry and frustrated because what can you do about it? You're here. And then sometimes you can get depressed. And you can get down because you see people younger than you doing this, and that, and thinking, oh my gosh, they're doing all that. Is there anything exciting and adventurous left for me? Is there anything new for me that like a 20-year-old and a 30-year-old are experiencing for the first time? And then sometimes people withdraw and they can really isolate, which is not always a bad thing if you're withdrawing to kind of figure out what's going on and reaching out for help and figuring it out. And then we hope that on the other side, you begin to embrace. You begin to transform and shift into what you want your second act to be like. So crisis, Midlife, holy crap, is it a bad thing? No, because things like this force us to pay attention, to shift and change those things that we haven't shifted and changed, or those things that we haven't had time to grieve or figure out that maybe we can do now to step in and transform in our second act.
See, to me, I think it's the recognition that life is finite, that there is an end to life at some point, and we're getting closer and closer to it, and thus becomes that crisis thinking, if you will, that causes you to reevaluate and see if this is really, am I living my purpose, my passion? Do I want to go on like this? And to me, it's more, the reaction of how you handle it is what makes it good or bad. In my case, I could be described as the ultimate midlife crisis. I left a 25-year marriage. It totally changed my life. Some people might say, well, to me, it was all very, very positive. So I'm wondering, what makes it healthy and what makes it not so healthy?
And remember, what you deem crisis for you can look very different for someone else. So it really is coming down to when you're in a midlife of anything, everything from years prior starts to cave in. And the reality of what you said, oh my gosh, I have less time in front of me and I have more time in back of me. But remember this, we are all given the exact time that we need to finish and do what we need here in this lifetime, whether you want to believe that or not. So if you're going, oh my God, I have to do this, and this, you'll become more scattered and not as focused. So go within. It's okay if you have these feelings, these emotions, if you're going through this feeling dissatisfied, that's okay. It's kind of like being an adolescent again, where you're having all this stuff hit you. You have to work through it. And I would suggest working through it with someone who can help you go through what are the stages, where are you now, what are the losses, what do you want to shift and change. And for women, we have a double whammy because our hormones are going crazy at this time too, which exacerbates the feelings that we're having. Make sense?
It absolutely makes sense. And, when we say the word midlife crisis, of course, right away, what we think of immediately, or at least I do, think of a man in a Porsche, with somebody 20 years younger than him. And that is one reaction, I suppose, to, dealing with whatever you want to do to improve your life. But I think what you're saying is, or I believe what you're saying is that really we have to work on ourselves and that external things don't do anything to fix that.
External things have never done anything to fix internal things at any stage of your life, and it's not going to happen now. It'll just be a short-term fix for a long-term issue that's waiting and pleading for you to step into to go, wow, this can be better than you imagine. So it's okay if you have some fear while you're going through it, but at least you're stepping into it and exploring, where am I? Why am I dissatisfied? What can I break down to figure out what's going on and what I can do next? Because you're not dead yet.
Thank goodness.
As Monty Python says, wait, I'm not dead yet. No, it's just a flesh wound.
Well, and that kind of leads us into what our next segment is going to be on, and talk about facing your emotions and not suppressing them. So let's wrap this segment up, Paige. And what would you like to leave our viewers with? Anything else?
Just that it's okay. Most people go through it. Step into it. Don't look for something external to fix something internal. And just know, don't be afraid of what's down in there, because what's down in there is going to be what's best for you.
Very good. Paige, thanks. We'll see you on our next segment of Our Second Act with Paige and Silka.
For your second act of life.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for watching. For more information on living your life to the fullest after 50, please visit our website, secondact.tv. And if you haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Buttons are right over here. See you next time. Bye-bye.